Welcome to another episode of the Restorative Longevity Podcast. For those of y'all who have been following me over the past weeks and attending live, thank you. I appreciate your support. And thank you for listening and get this information. We have changed the name of the podcast to Restorative Longevity Podcast because that's what we're talking about, restorative longevity. And that's the goal of this podcast, is to give you the information about restorative longevity, which is how can we increase the quality of our lives as we get older, which is contrary to what is going on in society right now. Society, all doctors, physicians, practitioners, all different type of practitioners will tell you, oh, as you get older, your quality of life decreases. No, there's actually other options. And I'm here to show you and inform you what are the other options. What can you do to not be another statistic for whatever country you are in? So if you're attending live, ask the questions, type in the questions into the chat. YouTube will show me all of your questions. I appreciate your questions, love questions. It lets me know that you're listening and paying attention. So HIIT training, today's topic. HIIT training is killing you. So what is HIIT training? H-I-I-T, HIIT training. HIIT training is high intensity interval training. High intensity interval training. It's been made popular in the past at least 10 years. And I'll explain all the reasons behind what my statement, HIIT training is killing you. Yes, it is literally killing you. And so in alignment with the way we do these podcasts is we give you the meat. I'm about to give you the meat. You don't have to wait till the end of this podcast to hear what's the point of this podcast. We're going to give it to you right now. So HIIT training is killing you. Why is HIIT training killing you? HIIT training is actually increasing inflammation. It's stressing your body to the max. Stress causes aging. Stress decreases your longevity. Stress decreases your quality of life. Causes all of that. It causes physical stress, which is still stress to your body, and it's still decreasing your longevity, and it's killing your joints. It's killing the rest of your body. And so, yes, many people are going to say, okay, where's the research? The research says that HIIT training does that, and they're all right. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. Remember, I'm not here to tell you what is right or wrong. I'm here to tell you that there is information that people leave out that we are not exposed to by mainstream media, and there's all other reasons why. But the main point of this podcast is the more HIIT training you do, the more you're destroying your body and the more you're shrinking your longevity. The amount of time that you will live a high quality life. So when I say longevity, I'm not referring to, my definition of longevity is different. My definition of longevity is restorative longevity. And that is based on living a higher quality of life. Most people in mainstream media, when they think about longevity, you're just extending your life. Even though you're extending your life, those last 20 years of your life could be miserable. They consider that longevity. I don't consider that longevity. Longevity is only when you have a higher quality of life or the same high quality of life. I would say or higher quality of life. That is longevity. Anything beyond that is not my definition of longevity. So let's dive into why this is HIIT training is killing your body, right? So I want to bring out to you there is a surgeon. For those of you who like statistics, this was Iowa. This was the Blue Zone Project was doing an experiment, I believe, in the state of Iowa, and they were doing a project to try to Blue Zone certify that city. That time, it was in a city called Terrell. And the cost of food at that time was a huge burden to Americans, right? It was consuming 40% of their income. And that's when the food industry started to say, hey, what can we do to make food cheaper? And that's when they started making fake food, right? Most of the foods that you see in the grocery store right now is fake food. Because the only food that really comes, actually not even, I was about to say the only food that comes natural is the produce, but even produce is genetically modified too, right? So majority of the food in the grocery store is genetically modified fake food or processed food. It goes down to say that there was a Boston surgeon. His name was Dr. Atul Gawande, a Boston surgeon. He drew parallels between our healthcare and the agricultural systems in the 2009 New Yorker article. So this is in an article. And Dr. Gawande, Boston surgeon, he said, part of our problem is the way that the medical system is set up. It's a fee for service offered all the wrong incentives. What does that mean? Fee for service. So the current healthcare system is fee for service. What does that mean? It rewards doing more over doing right. So fee for service means doctors are rewarded for doing more procedures, more medication. They're not rewarded for doing right, which is making you healthier. They're not rewarded for making you healthier. They are rewarded for making you sicker, right? Because if you have to do more procedures, you're sicker. And if I give you something that makes you sicker or makes you stay sick, I get rewarded, right? When I started out my career, I used to work with a pain specialist, and the beauty of what he was doing was trying to integrate other complementary holistic medicine to help his patients. But he was also prescribing medications, opioids back then. This was 20 years ago, I believe. And so when I worked with him, the thing was, we would get wined and dined by pharmaceutical reps. Pharmaceutical reps would bring us lots of gourmet food, take us out to eat. And a couple of times they flew this physician that I was working with, they flew them on his private jet just to fly him to another city so he can convince another physician to prescribe a medication. So this is personal experience. This is not something I read. This is personal experience, right? And so that's what the fee for service means. It encourages doctors to prescribe more medications. It encourages doctors to do more procedures, more tests, more blood tests, more surgeries. The less you do, the less you get rewarded, and eventually you will get fired. So that's the fee for service system. So if you understand that, well, I'm not going to make a comment for what's right or wrong. You decide. Okay. Increases paperwork and the duplication of efforts. It discourages, so the fee for service system discourages clinicians from working together for the best possible result. What's the best possible result for you? That it is returning your body to where it was self-healing again, right? He also wrote, as a result, costs keep going up, but not the quality of medical care. So costs keep on going up. Medical care keeps on declining, right? Just think here in the US, we're not getting healthier. The US has the highest technology, is the most advanced technology, spends the most on medical care, healthcare, sick care, really. But yet we're on longevity in regards to the countries, the ranking of the countries of who lives the longest and healthiest. We're like 50 and 60. That's terrible. We should be number one, but we're not. So you think about it. For those of y'all who keep thinking that scientific research says this, scientific research says that herbs are not good for you. They are not proven to help you. Exercise is not proven to help you. You need to take medication. You can continue to believe that, but the fact is, our longevity in the US is terrible. We're like 50 or 60. His question is, what have we gained more by paying more than twice as much for medical care as we did a decade ago? This is just comparing ourselves to ourselves, right? So I'll come back to this on another podcast. So I'm prefacing this that whatever you should go to your physician, right? But you should also have your own discernment. You should also do your own research, not necessarily for just scientific studies. You need to do your own research as to observe the people who are living into their 80s, 90s, and 100s and still have a better quality of life than you. Those are the real research. I would trust that. I would trust seeing one or two people who are living to 90 to 100 years old and they're still doing everything they want to do. Not the ones that just sit around and do nothing and are taking tons of medications and are not able to hike. They're not able to climb a mountain. They're not able to do manual labor, right? I would not look at those. I would look at the people that are actually doing it. I would listen to those type of, even though there may just be two people, I would believe those two people more than I would believe scientific evidence, scientific research-based, evidence-based research. That's just my personal opinion, right? Because again, I have a background doing research, doing exams, tests. I was a biochemist, and I could manipulate the research. That's why, in my opinion. But coming back to what does this have to do with the HIIT training killing you, right? It goes back to you need to, regardless of what your physician or your personal trainer or your physical therapist or even your acupuncturist, chiropractor, regardless of what they tell you, you need to understand what interest do they have? What's in their interest? Is their focus on doing more procedures on you? And this is not geared toward medical doctors only. This is geared toward any practitioner. Are they trying to do more services on you, right? Because I've known, I'm not, this is all transparency. I've been involved with programs, groups of programs where they had naturopath doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, right? All holistic healthcare, but they were training us to do, just like the medical system, they were training us to do more stuff. Not about getting results, but doing more procedures, because we could make more money by doing procedures, right? So this is not just isolated to medical doctors. This applies to every healthcare practitioner, including holistic, natural, whatever you want to label it, right? Including acupuncturists. I know a group of acupuncturists that are doing that right now just to make more money. So you have to choose, you have to discern your provider. Is their goal to help you live a higher quality of life? Is your provider helping you to extend your quality of life, the time you experience the quality of life, right? So that was the purpose of me sharing that Boston surgeon, because the way that especially the healthcare system here in the US, it is not geared towards helping people. It is not geared toward helping you restore your longevity. It's not geared to helping you heal, to be able to do the things that you love to do. It's geared to making money. And that doesn't matter if it's Western medicine, Chinese medicine, naturopath, chiropractic, it doesn't matter. Okay. So coming back to why does the HIIT training, why do I say it's killing you, right? So they did, in the Blue Zone project, they did a observation research, right? Real live research of people actually doing it, and not in a test tube, not in a controlled environment, but in their normal daily lives. And they didn't manipulate these people, right? It's one of the Blue Zones, Sardinia, Italy. And in Sardinia, in this city, they had farmers, right? Just very similar to many in the countries here. So they were comparing the lifespan and the restorative longevity of farmers versus shepherds. Shepherds are the herded goats, right? And these Sardinia in Italy, it was in rocky areas, mountainous, hilly. They had to climb and all that stuff, right? So let me ask you this, put it in the chat. Who do you think had the longest restorative longevity? The farmers or the shepherds? Who do you think, put in the chat, who do you think had who had the better restorative longevity? Was it the farmers in Italy or the shepherds in Italy? They herd goats. So who do you think? Put in the chat. Siren, agree. One of the best things I did was stop going to Western medicine doctors. Siren, thank you for your comment. I would say we still need to go to Western medicine doctors. Now, why is that? I know I'm going off topic. We need to go to Western medicine doctors because of technology, because of the test. Some of the tests, not all, tests are good data because they give us a piece of the puzzle. The more information we know about our body, the better. Now, it doesn't so going to physicians doesn't mean you have to do their treatments, because their treatments are always going to be medication and surgery. But we know that, right? And those, if you're in an emergency situation, you need those. So this podcast is not about saying, don't go to your doctors. No, this is about working together with all of your practitioners, including your Western medicine doctor. But you need to find one that has your interest as number one priority, okay? All right, so people, shepherds, we got two. Evelyn said farmers, Bridget said shepherds, Cheryl said shepherds. Okay, so here's the answer. It's the shepherds, right? So shepherds, all they do is a herd. People think, and I'll just read some of this. Shepherds who wander the island's highlands, they moved livestock from the mountains to the plains, were up to 10 times more likely to live to 100 than men in the rest of Italy, including farmers, okay, whose lives also involve seasons of exhausting labor. So what's the difference? You can do HIIT training. You can correlate HIIT training. High intensity interval training is doing a lot, high intensity, right? You're lifting a lot of weights, you're not resting, you're just overexerting yourself. You're doing as much as you can in a short amount of time. That was what made HIIT training so popular. In the US especially, we are such a fast culture that we always say we don't have time to exercise, right? So that's why someone came out with this, oh, what if you can just exercise in 30 minutes? 30 minutes a week. 30 minutes a week and you can get all of your week's exercise just in 30 minutes. You just have to increase the intensity, right? That's how all of these short duration, high intensity exercises came out. And I know there's going to be research. Eventually someone's going to say, oh, but research shows that HIIT training is good for blah, 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 blah. And it's right. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm just saying, hey, this is pure reality. This is not putting someone in a gym with different lifestyles. You don't live in the same area. This is comparing a group of a community that lives in the same community, but they do different jobs, right? One's a shepherd, one's a farmer. So the farmer is like doing HIIT training. The shepherd is like just daily living, low intensity. I would say low intensity training. So shepherds are low intensity training. Farmers are high intensity trainings. Why is farmers high intensity trainings? It says right here, because seasons of exhausting labor, right? Farmers may overwork in the growing season. So during the growing season, right? The planting season, the growing season, they overwork. They do. And then for the rest of the year, they're just chilling, relaxing on the beach. No, they're not really on the beach. I'm just joking. But they're not, it's just almost like they do, instead of doing a year's worth of exercise, they do a year's worth of exercise in 3 months or 6 months. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm making that up. So, but it's not the whole year. Whereas shepherds, they're doing it throughout the whole year because they're raising goats, right? Livestock. The livestocks, they need to raise over years and years and years. So most people may think, oh, the shepherd's regular low intensity physical effort, slowly walking up and down mountain slopes might provide a better model for the type of exercise that the rest of us should be doing, right? So lower intensity, but you got to do it every day. Here's why people don't do it, because you got to do it every day. The people, one thing they found in the areas, the centenarians, the people that live over 100, their communities are set up where it's just part of their natural life. They have to walk, right? Walking is the miracle cure. That's another point. I'm just giving you the secrets right now. Walking is the miracle cure. You can count steps if that helps you, right? But these people don't count steps. These centenarians, they don't go to a gym. They don't lift weights, right? It's part of their normal lives. But coming back, let's not get detoured. So high intensity interval training, why does it kill you? High intensity interval training, like I said, the research shows that they are doing seasons of exhausting labor, and that generates higher rates of inflammation. So if you're not familiar, inflammation is the silent killer. Times Magazine, I think in the 90s, did an article that they show that inflammation is a silent killer. It's it brews in you and it slowly kills you. And that is cancer. Cancer is chronic inflammation. Autoimmune conditions, chronic inflammation. Joint osteoarthritis, chronic inflammation. So the faster the more inflammation you create, the more you are decreasing your longevity. So that's what I mean by HIIT training is killing you. It's shrinking your restorative longevity. It's shrinking your time, restorative longevity. You think about like a good example is marathon runners. Many people think marathon runners are healthy, right? Do y'all think that marathon runners are healthy? Marathon runners are actually one of the least healthiest people in the world. They all eventually die of some type of heart disease because they overwork their heart, right? Again, inflammation. Our bodies are not built to run how long it takes. For me, it'd probably take a day to run a marathon, right? I've never run a marathon and I don't want to. Our bodies are not built to do that. So, the athletes, look at athletes, professional athletes. Like, I don't know about other ones, but I play tennis. So I retired from playing tennis. Mainly because of I want restorative longevity. I knew, just personal experience, as I was playing more and more tennis, right? Did I get stronger? Yes, but my joints were degenerating faster. I felt my joints were degenerating faster. I've never taken any type of NSAIDs, pain relievers. I don't do that. Many of my friends that play tennis and we compete, we're weekend warriors, we compete, they're popping Advil, ibuprofen before they play and after they play. I didn't do any of that. What I did was I did omega-3s, right? Natural anti-inflammatories. But even with doing that, I still felt my joints decline. How do I know they decline? Pain. The reason why you have pain is because of inflammation in the joints or the nerves. So HIIT training causes more inflammation. It causes your joints to degenerate faster. Now, as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, maybe even 40-year-old, that you may not feel it immediately. I'm close to being 50. I'm 47. I'm already feeling it because I used to play 3 times a week. 3 times a week, each time I would play 2 to 3 hours. And that was intense training. And that's not even my job. I wish it was my job, but it wasn't my job. That was just something I love to do. I love playing tennis, right? And so HIIT training is killing your joints, it's killing your body. It's causing faster, it's putting you into the grave faster. Is it making you look prettier, sexier? Yeah, it does. Is it making you stronger? Absolutely. So if your goal is not restorative longevity, then you can disregard everything that I say, right? So this podcast is about restorative longevity. It's about how can we have a higher quality of life and extend that high quality of life, even past 100. That's the point of this podcast, just to remind y'all, for those of y'all just joining in, okay? You're welcome, Tiffany. Great. So high intensity. Now low intensity, should go up and down hills. So one thing that I've been doing recently is I used to run on a treadmill too. So running is bad for your joints as well. Oh, so I know the runners are going to hate me now, right? So runners, you'll notice the shepherds, they didn't do any running, right? Maybe once in a while. Once in a while, they'll run and chase after a goat that's misbehaving, right? But shepherds, they're walking, they're hiking, right? They're moving livestock up and down. They're going on inclines. And so what I'm doing right now, so I'm personally doing right now, is I'm still doing a treadmill, but I'm not running. Because even though a treadmill is softened on your joints, it's still pounding, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm walking. I'm walking at a speed. If you have a treadmill, I'm walking at a speed of 3 to 3.5. So pretty slow, right? Average walking pace, but I'm walking on an incline. And I'm doing it incline of 12, right? And I'm only doing it for 5 minutes when I go work out. What I'm trying to do is incorporate more walking. Like when I was in Asia. When I was in Asia, I naturally, not intentionally, I naturally walked 5 to 6 miles every day. And it felt great. I missed it, right? Here in Austin, Texas, we are not built. We don't have good public transportation. Our cities are built just mainly with freeways, highways. It's, sidewalks are narrow. And so the city is not built for exercise. It's not built for restorative longevity. And that's a whole nother story that I will do a podcast on, which is super important, right? However, you make do with what you have. So, you have to find ways to increase walking on a daily basis. So some of the questions y'all may be asking is, how long do I walk, right? Every day. How long does a shepherd walk? Does the goats need to eat every day? Yes. So they have to herd the goats from one place because the goats need to eat grass. And so they devour grass in one area. So they need to move the goats, herd the goats to a different plane of grass so they can keep on eating, right? On a side note, I saw this new movement where instead of mowing the lawn, I saw this business. They bring goats, they herd them around. If you have a really weeded, grassy area you want to just kind of mow, but you don't want to do it, just bring some goats. They brought like 20 goats, and those 20 goats took care of all the weeds, right? So shepherds, you have to walk every single day, low intensity, right? Even walking on an incline, I still got my heart rate up to about 120, maybe 110 beats per minute. But you have to do it every single day. It's not just 3 times a week, twice a week. And so here's another example, right? There's been many of these these franchises come out, like Orange Theory, Curves, right? They're just doing high intensity training. And this is what I noticed in my clinic from our practitioners, from my team, is that many people who are trying to lose weight. So if you're trying to lose weight and you go to those and you don't lose weight, there's a reason, right? HIIT training is actually generating more inflammation. More inflammation, you know what happens? You retain more water. So those of you who now many people go to HIIT training and they lose weight, right? But it's not just about HIIT training that you're doing right. You're doing other things right also. But for those of you who are, let's just say, just compare HIIT training. Those who go to HIIT training for lose weight, doesn't matter what program you use, right? What's this newest one that I heard of? Anyways, just all these HIIT trainings, right? Short intensity, high intensity trainings. There's so many of them, right? But they all do the same thing. There's P90X, right? They all try to maximize time. And so they do high intensity. And that's the problem. It's the high intensity in a short amount of time generates the most inflammation. So any of those, if you can't lose weight doing those, you join Orange Theory, you join P90X, you join Curves, you join whatever, HIIT training, F45, and you can't lose weight and you're actually gaining weight. Most likely you're gaining water weight because inflammation draws water. Just think about when you twist your ankle and it gets inflamed. Does your ankle get smaller or does it get bigger? Right? Just think about that. For those of you who don't understand that inflammation makes you gain weight, when you twist your ankle, does it get smaller in size or does it get bigger in size? It gets bigger. It gets red, it gets hot, it gets bigger, right? It gets swollen. You can see if you don't compress it, it swells like a balloon, right? That's gaining weight, right? The ankle just gained weight. So same thing, when you keep on doing inflammation, you're doing the HIIT trainings, right? And you're not losing weight because you're generating too much inflammation. What I would recommend you do is the opposite. So if HIIT in training, then it's low intensity training, right? Not low intensity interval training, low intensity training. So I'm gonna coin that term. That sounds pretty cool. You're gonna get lit. So lit training, low intensity training. Do that for 2 weeks, right? And report back. I'm assuming you're not putting the Twinkies and the donuts in your mouth, okay? I'm assuming that. I'm assuming you're doing it. So the patients that we treat for weight loss in our clinic are the ones who have changed their diet, they're doing the exercise, they're doing the HIIT training, and they're still not losing weight, or in fact, they're gaining weight. So continue the diet, continue whatever you're doing, good diet that you're doing, and I just want you to change the HIIT training to the LIT training, okay? Low intensity interval, okay? Let me see about questions. What about ReHIT? Regina, I'm not sure what ReHIT is. It's a burst of maximum running for 20 seconds and intervals of rest. So if we go to the life reality research, right, which is observing people, what they're actually doing, I would say we have to go back to the farmers and the shepherds. The shepherds never do bursts of high intensity training. It's low intensity, it's just low intensity physical training, slowly walking up and down the mountain slopes. So LIT training, low intensity training, okay? Bridget, awesome, you're very welcome. I'm suffering from frozen shoulder for 4 months. You may do some LIT training, walk. Will walking help the pain I already have in my joints? Miss D. Possibly, but you also need to do other things, right? Because there's many causes to joint pain. And so, but possibly, I'll just say possibly because I don't know your case, so I don't know. Water, okay, here's a good idea. This is what I tell people. Let's say you're hip I'm assuming maybe you're saying your hip joints, your knee joints. So if you have hip and knee pain and you definitely can't do HIIT training. Definitely, you should not do HIIT training, okay? If anybody's telling you, personal trainer, physical therapist, chiropractor, acupuncturist telling you need to do HIIT training, no, right? That will hurt you more. That will generate more inflammation. So if you have pain, let's think about this logically. If you have pain, guess what? You have inflammation. You want to do everything that will reduce the inflammation, not increase the inflammation. If you increase the inflammation, you're going to have more pain and more degeneration. It's going to shorten your lifespan. It's going to shorten your restorative longevity. Rebounding is great. Rebounding is one of the great things. I was about to say, here's another way. You can do LIT training, low intensity training, in a swimming pool. You don't have to swim. You don't have to. You can go to a kiddie pool, that's only 3 feet, 4 feet deep, and just walk. All you got to do is walk in the pool. You got a pool at home, jump in your pool and walk. That's all you got to do. That is low intensity training, right? Low intensity training. So point is, I want to summarize, right? This is also what they found. The hillness of the terrain and how far one walked to work, right, was highly associated for reaching the age of 100. The steeper the terrain, the longer you tended to live. So the shepherds in Italy were gently walking up and down hills all day long, not just in the pastures, but also in their villages. Every trip to the store, to church, or to the local bar occasioned a mildly strenuous climb. So walk more. Find ways to walk more. One of the things that we did is, my wife and I did, is we moved from the suburb to downtown. And the suburb has there's a lot of nature trails, and you can walk. And if that's what you love to see and that's what you love to be in the environment, hey, more power to you. Get out and walk. But if you're not walking, then you got to think maybe you don't like nature as much as you thought, right? So we moved downtown, to the center of downtown, because downtown reminded us of Asia, where things were a little more compact and we could walk to places. Like we live near what's called Town Lake, and so we can walk down to the lake, walk on the trails, right? But we also like yesterday we walked to a Whole Foods to return some stuff, right? From Amazon, which is pretty cool. But we walked, and it was a 20-minute walk, right? Just normal pace. Find ways in your routine to walk. And for those of you who don't walk, you can also buy a bike. So our bikes are coming in a couple of weeks. Bicycle. So you can bike, right? But get out. Don't use your car. Like we sold one of our cars. We used to have 2 cars, and we sold one of our cars. For many reasons, but we want to be in an environment where we are forced, that is part of our daily life, is to walk. Now you say you're too busy. Well, maybe that's the problem. You're busy dying instead of busy living. Walking is living, right? If you don't block off time to live, that means you're dying. Because here's something that you don't, this is what I tell when I train practitioners all over the world. I train them how to be a better practitioner, a better acupuncturist, Chinese medicine doctor, to help their patients and not trying to just make money. I tell them, we are always moving. Our bodies are moving always. Our bodies are constantly moving, if you didn't know that. Even when you're sitting, your cells are moving, right? Our bodies are always moving in one direction. And there's only 2 directions. Our bodies can go only in 2 directions. One direction is healing. Your bodies are healing. Your bodies, that's the direction. One direction is healing. Your body's regenerating. It's self-healing. The other direction is deteriorating. It's degenerating. AKA, it's dying. So you can either focus your life on getting your body to live, self-heal, or you can ignore it and say you're too busy, right? And I know about busy. I used to work 90 to 100 hours every week. I know what busy is, right? And so as I'm getting older, I've shifted. And as I've gotten into Chinese medicine, natural medicine, I've shifted my thinking. I want to be focused, my day to be focused on living more than dying. So if I'm working all day, if I'm sitting watching TV all day, working is not bad. I love working. Watching TV, watching movies is working also, but you're sitting there. doing nothing. That's dying. So the more movement you have, low intensity lit training, low intensity, not high HIIT training, low intensity movement you have, the longer you're going to live, the higher quality of life you're going to live. So make a decision today. Are you going to live? Are you going to do things to live, to self-heal, to get your body to self-heal? Or are you going to do things that's going to increase the destruction of your body? That's sitting in your chair for 8 hours a day, sitting on your butt, watching TV, watching movies, right? Or is it going to be moving, walking with your family, walking with your kids, enjoying a park, enjoying just your neighborhood? You don't need to go. You don't need to travel. Your neighborhood. I guarantee you, you'll see things you never saw when you were driving a car. Right, guys? That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for so much of the engagement and the questions. I love it. And hey, hopefully, if you haven't subscribed, if this is new, you're seeing this on your feed, subscribe. Get your friends and family to subscribe, because here's the thing. You need to get your friends and family to subscribe to this podcast, because for you to live a healthy life, for you to live a high quality of life, it is not just up to you. Your community, your inner circle, they have to get on board. And if they're not on board, you're going to go back to your bad habits, sitting on the couch. You're going to go to this habit. So you need to surround yourself. You need to inspire the people around you, your inner circle, to also seek this restorative longevity. All right, guys. So get everybody to subscribe. I'll see you next week.